This Children's Day, we are presenting an open letter to United Nations Secretary General. Through the letter, we are trying to echo the unheard, unseen, and unexplained barriers to meaningful child participation. With all of your permission, I would like to read the statement on the behalf of COVID-19 Initiative. To His Excellency Antonio Guterres, United Nations Headquarters, New York, 18 November 2022. Dear Secretary General, we who borrow the earth from our children are already halfway through the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. For the sake of present and future generation, we must be mindful that our challenges are interconnected and can only be addressed through strong intergenerational partnership. As a global community of children and young people and adult allies working together in COVID-19 initiative, we feel bound to raise our concern that the UN is talking about the future, but children are often not part of these discussions. Children in their full diversity comprise 1/3 of the world's population, with an estimated 1.3 billion more expected to join our planet by 2030. Therefore, it is of crucial importance to consider childhood and children's rights as defining characteristic of future generation. Children around the world have already risen to the challenge. This includes the 4 million children who in 2019 protested peacefully and advocated for children's rights in the context of the climate crisis. Children have contributed to global awareness about the climate crisis by encouraging climate literacy, lobbying for climate-oriented curricula in school, and working to establish safe spaces for meaningful child participation. This has often been particularly challenging for children already facing the greatest adversity, including those in situations of poverty, violence, abuse, and exploitation. Children on the move, children in contact with justice system, and children with chronic health conditions. Children have a critical role to play in shaping an equitable and just future for current and future generation. This is a familiar message heard already in the United Nations mainstreaming children's rights across the United system. A number of Human Rights Council resolutions and the 2021 joint statement by the heads of the UN entities. Mr. Secretary General, your work as leader of the United Nations has reiterated that human rights are key to resolving the long-term social and political consequences of the global COVID-19 pandemic. Your report, Our Common Agenda, speaks of a new social contrast anchored in human rights to build back better after COVID. Also, in 2021, you highlighted the lack of a system-wide approach to the child rights in the United Nations. We have also read here about your personal commitments to consider children's view about the future. Despite these points, we observe that in many areas of our common agenda, children are still invisible. There is no mention of children in either of the resolution that set in motion the key components of the agenda. The resolution on the statement, establishment of a UN office, and the resolution and the modalities of the Summit of the Future. Children's invisibility in this flagship initiative suggests that the commitments to mainstream children's rights across the UN are quickly falling off the radar. These silences suggest children's specific and distinct needs and rights are being excluded from thinking about the future. Failing to include children will not only compromise children's right to be heard, as enshrined in Article 12 of United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, but undermine other rights in the convention and the SDGs as well. Some rights will end up being ignored or even taken away. Shouldn't the United Nations and the international community consider children as stakeholders and give them serious consideration in all conversations about the future and present generation? We would have liked to request the amendment of the above General Assembly resolution to include children. However, we prefer to take note of this instance of silence and instead use our energies to look forward. Therefore, we, the signatories of this letter, call upon you as Secretary General to ensure that children are duly and explicitly mentioned and included in all subsequent documentations and processes related to our common agenda, including the United Nations Youth Office, the Summit of the Future, and the Digital Compact. Every aspect of the agenda affects children of today and tomorrow, and we demand inclusive participation of children in all of them. We believe that this will help governments meet their human rights promises and set an example at the highest level to the UN member states. At our level, through networks of children and young people supported by civil society organizations, we will continue to work together our vision of a world where children's human rights are respected, protected, and fulfilled. A world where governments campaign children's rights, human rights, and children are systematically provided with space to have their voices heard and be given due weight. At COVID-19, we continue to strive to link global and local child rights-based and child-led advocacy to inspire regional, national, international, and global movements of children who are empowered to claim their rights and hold adults accountable to them. With our adult allies, we will continue to co-create child-friendly resources with children as a cornerstone of meaningful intergenerational participation in decision-making for current and future generation. Today, we mark the occasion of International Children's Day 2022. We invite you, Honorable Secretary General, to join our adult allies in standing alongside children and young people who seek transformative change. We look forward to your response. Sincerely yours, the COVID-19 Initiative. This statement was co-authored by children, young people, and adults involved in COVID-19 and endorsed by ChildFund Alliance, Child Rights Coalition Asia, Child Rights Connect, Child Rights International Network, CWIN Nepal, the Institute for Inspiring Children's Future, the International Institute for Child Rights and Development, International Young Catholic Student, Lakshyadeep, Learning for Wellbeing Foundation, Mtoto News, Nepal Youth Network for Sustainable Development, Terre Home International Federation, the Trust for Sustainable Living, Voice of Children Nepal. Thank you for listening to me. Over to the moderator.